It all began one hot summer morning when I noticed a suspicious vehicle parked along the edge of my property. Karen had somehow convinced herself that my red diamond driveway, polished, vibrant, and an unmistakable hallmark of my property, belonged to her HOA. She had been sending passive-aggressive letters, claiming shared community access, and threatening legal action if I didn't cede a portion of my driveway for her members' vehicles. I ignored them, knowing full well that my deed and property lines were rock-solid, legally binding, and completely unassailable. That morning, she had escalated matters. I saw her peeking over my fence, clipboard in hand, measuring my driveway as if she could arbitrarily redefine my property lines. I sighed, rubbing my temples. This wasn't the first time Karen tried to assert some impossible claim over my property, but it was about to be the last. She called me on her phone shortly after, her voice dripping with faux politeness. "I'm just here to check the boundaries, ensure everything is fair for all HOA members." I leaned against the fence, my tone steady. "Karen, the driveway is mine. You and your HOA have no claim, no easement, and certainly no right to dictate access." Her response was a long pause, followed by a dramatic sigh. "I guess I'll have to escalate this. Maybe block your pool access until you comply." I laughed under my breath. Karen had no idea how intertwined my property and the neighborhood were legally. I had purposely maintained certain access rights and legal leverage that would make any interference on her part costly, not to mention extremely inconvenient. I decided it was time to make a demonstration. A subtle but unmistakable reminder that property lines aren't suggestions. The following morning, I strolled casually to the pool area with my maintenance crew, giving the appearance of normal activity. Karen, true to form, arrived minutes later with her clipboard and measuring tape, confident as ever. She didn't even notice the subtle changes I'd made. Temporary gates and new boundary markers that didn't block her legally but made it very clear where she wasn't allowed. I waited until she stepped onto my driveway, measuring for her imaginary access rights, and then activated a series of harmless, automated deterrents I'd installed weeks prior. Small sprinklers popped up around the driveway edges, dousing the area with water. Sensors triggered a soft but persistent alarm chime. Karen jumped back, her clipboard soaked and hair dripping, shouting in disbelief. "What is this?" she screamed, shaking her fist. I walked up to her calmly, almost apologetically. "That's your warning. Stay off my driveway, or your HOA will have a far bigger problem than a wet clipboard." Her eyes widened in panic, but stubbornness made her resist retreating immediately. I guided her gaze toward the pool access, casually mentioning how, legally, I could restrict HOA entry entirely if she refused to respect the property line. Her jaw dropped. She had assumed she could leverage community resources to pressure me, but she had completely miscalculated my control over both my property and the surrounding neighborhood. I watched as Karen scrambled back to her truck, muttering curses and waving her arms helplessly. The HOA members who followed her from the neighborhood remained frozen, unsure if they should intervene. Their faces showed a mix of awe and panic. They weren't aware of my legal authority, the network of easements, and the property deeds I controlled, all of which made any interference potentially catastrophic for them. By afternoon, the driveway was secure, the gates functioning perfectly, and the pool access entirely under my control. I checked the cameras and confirmed that Karen's failed attempt to assert dominance had been fully documented, providing irrefutable evidence should she try to escalate further. I took a deep breath, smiling at the red diamond stones gleaming under the sunlight. Karen's attempts to claim my driveway had backfired spectacularly, leaving her humiliated, soaked, and aware that crossing me carried consequences far beyond her imagination. Sometimes I realized it wasn't just about defending your property, it was about reminding people that bold claims require more than just audacity. Karen would remember this lesson for a long time, and I could finally enjoy my driveway, my pool, and my peace of mind in absolute certainty.